Everybody is speculating on what the big surprises we're going to be seeing in the final 3 episodes of Peacemaker Season 2 will be. James Gunn has teased that the final 3 episodes are his favorite thing he has ever made, and that fans can expect some mind-blowing surprises in those episodes. So much so he's not even allowing his publicist to watch. So in today's video we are going to be looking at the best and worst theories of things we can expect in the finale of Peacemaker Season 2. I just want to start off by saying I apologize that we're going to have to use some unrelated footage in this video. WB will copyright claim any video I make with DC footage despite it falling under fair use. So we are going to have to utilize stills and some gameplay footage for this video. Now I also wanted to give a refresher on some of my thoughts from the first episode and the theory I talked about in my last video. The big theory I have is that Peacemaker is going to come into conflict with Rick Flag Jr. in this alternate universe where he is now dating Harcourt. Now, after I released that video, I did realize I forgot to include some of the other things that I noticed in this episode. James Gunn taking a couple shots at the former DCEU Joker actor Jared Leto when Harcourt and Peacemaker are discussing how much they dislike Jared Leto's band 30 Seconds to Mars. Now, another one of my big theories is that in this alternate universe that we have seen very little of, Peacemaker sees this universe as the ideal universe. His brother and father are alive and they have this love that didn't exist in his home universe. And you also have this alternate version of Harcourt who was interested in Peacemaker as a love interest. And at the conclusion of the episode, our version of Peacemaker accidentally kills his alternate universe double. And it seems like the main internal conflict he is going to have to struggle with throughout this season will revolve around his decision on whether or not he wants to leave his home universe, where despite saving the world, he's rejected by the general public and viewed as a loser, whereas in this alternate universe, Peacemaker is thriving, and his family is celebrated as a superhero team known as the Top Trio. But I don't think this universe is as picture perfect as he perceives it to be. If you saw Peacemaker Season 1, you know that the Smith family has some deep-seated hatred in them, and that introduces the question on what changed in this new universe. Are the Smith family different from the incarnation in Peacemaker's home universe? Or is the world around them different? Are the White Dragon's views normalized in this universe, leading them to be the celebrated heroes, when really this is a world built on the foundation of hate? And that's going to be the price that Peacemaker will have to decide if he wants to pay, if he wants this ideal universe to be his new home. But that's all I have to say about that topic specifically. Definitely let me know what you think about that, and let's talk about some of those theories about what we could expect in future episodes this season. Now, as far as surprises go, a lot of people are assuming that that means we're going to see some major characters show up. Now, one theory I saw is that this season will end with the casting of Bruce Wayne in the DC Universe, and that at the end of the season, because he happened to be on set during the filming of Superman, which overlapped with Peacemaker Season 2, Chris Pratt is going to be the Dark Knight in the DC Universe. Now, this is probably one of the most far-fetched theories that I saw online, and I don't really believe it's going to be true, but I do think it is interesting to talk about because James Gunn has said that he is incredibly open with reusing cast members from Guardians of the Galaxy in the DC Universe. Now, we have already seen the return of Michael Rooker, Sean Gunn, and Nathan Fillion, who are probably best known for collaborating with James Gunn, but when discussing the main cast of Guardians of the Galaxy, we've only seen Bradley Cooper return as Jor-El, and Pom Klementieff, probably best known as Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy, making a brief vocal cameo in Superman as one of the Superman robots. Now, I do think she could be cast in a different role in the future since that was just a brief cameo, but we also do have the possibility of Karen Gillan, Vin Diesel, Dave Bautista, Zoe Saldana, and of course Chris Pratt all making their transition over to the DC Universe. Chris Pratt has been a very popular fan cast for a character like Booster Gold, somebody who's typically more comedic in the DC Universe, a role that is pretty naturally what Chris Pratt is primarily cast in, so making him the the DC Universe version of Bruce Wayne is some pretty wild card casting. Again, I'm gonna reiterate, as far as this being true, I highly doubt it, but maybe a Chris Pratt cameo in the future of this season is a possibility. I just would not expect him to be Bruce Wayne, and I would highly doubt that we're going to even see Bruce Wayne in this season of the show. Now, one of the other theories that I do really like, and I think there is a strong possibility of it happening, is getting the return of some of the cast members from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. The current status of The Suicide Squad is that it is not canon to the DC Universe. There are events that happened in the DC Universe that are similar to the events of The Suicide Squad, but just like the Justice League cameo at the end of Peacemaker Season 1, some things are going to be a little bit different in the canon. I think there's a good chance we could see Idris Elba show up as Bloodsport, Weasel could make an appearance after showing up in Creature Commandos. I would even be really excited to see the return of Ratcatcher 2. Now, a character I 100% do not expect to turn up is Harley Quinn. Unless Margot Robbie has the perfect poker face. She was recently asked in an interview if James Gunn contacted her about returning for his new DC Universe. She denied this, and despite being the first theatrical live-action Harley Quinn, and being a beloved version of the character, she understands that similar to every other superhero and supervillain across DC and Marvel, she will eventually have to surrender the role to somebody else. I think depending on where we're meeting this version of Batman in the DC Universe, she could potentially return, but I would be open to somebody new taking over the role. Let's talk about another really bad theory though. Some people are speculating that in this alternate universe that Peacemaker is visiting, we will see the DCEU version of the Justice League return one final time. Or at the very least, we would get a cameo appearance from Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Now, I don't think James Gunn is interested at all in revisiting the DCEU in any way, shape, or form. Outside of the projects that he created and kind of shifted over to the new DCU like Peacemaker, he only really utilized those characters because that was the universe he was working in at the time. They could have created some kind of in-universe reason for the continuity change, and I honestly see why. Now, the reasoning people think Jason Momoa specifically will return is due to his casting as Lobo in Supergirl. The idea is that Jason Momoa was in contact with James Gunn during the filming of Peacemaker Season 2, and upon being offered the role of Lobo, he was also given the opportunity to reprise the role of Arthur Curry one final time. Again, I really don't think that this is true, because one of the last theories that I think is probably way more believable is that in the final 3 episodes we will see David Corenswet make an appearance as Superman. James Gunn has talked about the fact that he decided to release Superman on digital earlier than anticipated so that people can go into Peacemaker Season 2 without feeling like elements of the movie were spoiled to them because they weren't able to make it out to the theater or whatever other reason. Now, many people are attributing this to the fact that the Justice Gang show up in episode 1 and are replacing the Justice League in the retcon at the end of season 1, along with Superman and Supergirl. But honestly, I don't think you're really being spoiled at all for Superman when you watch season 2, episode 1, aside from the mention of Lex Luthor's pocket universe, which is a pretty minor spoiler for the events of Superman. So it's very possible that we see David Corenswet or even Millie Alcock show up at the end of season 2 of Peacemaker as a way to lead into Supergirl and Superman's next appearance. But that's all I have to say about these theories. Let me know in the comments down below which one is your favorite, which one is your least favorite. I'm sure there are going to be a ton of funny and original comments about Chris Pratt playing Batman. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next video.